Hey everyone, and welcome back to Uncle Sam Fun English. I'm Theus.
And I'm Belle. Ready for another exciting lesson?
Absolutely. Today we're exploring the shadowing secret for rhythm and intonation.
Struggling to sound natural when you speak English? It's a common challenge.
We'll show you how shadowing can unlock your most natural accent.
Let's dive in.
So Belle, why do so many English learners struggle to sound natural, even after years of study?
Well, Theus, it's often because they focus too much on individual words and grammar rules, and not enough on the overall rhythm and intonation of the language. They get stuck in their heads, translating, instead of feeling the music of English. A common error is speaking in a monotone, like a robot.
I know exactly what you mean. I've heard learners who know all the grammar rules, but their speaking sounds flat. Have you noticed that too? It's like they are reading a script.
Absolutely. It's because they aren't mimicking the natural rise and fall of native speakers' voices. They might pronounce each word correctly, but the sentence lacks the emotional expression and emphasis that makes English sound alive. This lack of intonation often makes it harder to understand them, even when their grammar is perfect.
Exactly. It's like, if someone says, "I'm fine," in a totally flat tone, you might not believe them, even though they said the words correctly. Or when someone asks a question like, "Really?" but it sounds like a statement. The intonation changes the whole meaning. And what about the speed? People speak too fast or too slow.
Precisely. And the problem is compounded because many textbooks and language learning apps don't emphasize these aspects enough. They focus on vocabulary and grammar drills, neglecting the crucial element of prosody, the rhythm, stress, and intonation patterns. This leads to learners developing accurate but unnatural sounding speech. This also happens because learners are afraid of making mistakes, so they don't experiment with their intonation.
I agree. They're missing the music. So how do we fix this disconnect between knowledge and natural sounding speech? How can we introduce the magic of intonation and rhythm?
Well, Theus, one of the most effective techniques is called shadowing. Shadowing allows learners to directly mimic the sounds, rhythm, and intonation of native speakers. It's like being an echo, repeating what you hear almost simultaneously. Alright, so let's talk about the first rule of shadowing. Focus on rhythm. Rhythm is the beat of the language, the way words flow together.
Rhythm, got it. Can you give me a specific example of how to focus on rhythm when I'm shadowing?
Absolutely. Instead of trying to mimic every single word perfectly at first, listen to how the speaker stresses certain syllables and words. Pay attention to the pauses and the speed.
So, it's more about the musicality of the language than perfect pronunciation of individual words initially? That's a relief.
Exactly. Think of it like learning a song. You wouldn't focus on hitting every note perfectly right away, would you? You'd start with the overall melody and beat.
Okay, I think I understand. So, if I'm shadowing someone saying, "I went to the store yesterday," how should I focus on the rhythm?
You'd notice the stress on yesterday and the slight pauses before and after store. Try it with a little more emphasis on yesterday. I went to the asterisk store yesterday.
Okay, let me try. I went to the store yesterday. Did I get the rhythm right this time? I tried to emphasize yesterday.
Much better. You nailed the stress on yesterday. Now, try to make the transition between store and yesterday smoother, almost like one word. I went to the asterisk store yesterday.
Got it. So, it's about connecting the words fluidly while still emphasizing the important parts. Let me try another sentence. She's going to the movies tonight.
Okay, pay attention to the contraction. She's, how, going to, often becomes, gonna, and the emphasis on, tonight. Listen to the subtle shifts in speed.
She's gonna go to the movies tonight. How's that? Am I getting closer to mastering the rhythm? It feels a little unnatural still.
You're definitely improving. Try connecting movies and tonight a bit more, and shorten gonna even further. She's gonna go to the asterisk movies tonight. It's all connected.
Let me try again. She's gonna go to the movies tonight. Is that smoother? I'm trying to really blend those last words together like you suggested.
Yes, much better. Now, let's try a slightly longer sentence. Even though it was raining, we decided to go for a walk.
Okay, That sounds challenging. Where should I focus my attention rhythmically in that sentence? There are so many words.
Focus on raining and walk. Those are key words. Also, notice how decided to can blend together. Even though it was raining, we decided to go for a asterisk walk.
Okay, here I go. Even though it was raining, we decided to go for a walk. How was my rhythm on that one?
Really good. You're starting to get a feel for the natural flow. Remember, it's about listening carefully and imitating the overall rhythm, not just the individual sounds.
So, it's like learning a dance. You focus on the steps and the beat together to create a fluid movement.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more natural it will become. Let's try another one. He was so tired that he fell asleep on the couch.
Okay, let's see. He was so tired that he fell asleep on the couch. How was that? I felt like I rushed it a bit.
You did rush it a bit, but you caught the emphasis on tired and couch. Try slowing down slightly and connecting fell and asleep. He was so tired that he fell asleep on the couch.
Okay, slowing down a bit. He was so tired that he fell asleep on the couch. Better? I tried to connect, fell asleep. This time.
Much better. The connection is smoother. Let's do one more example. Despite the challenges, they remained optimistic about the future.
Despite the challenges, they remained optimistic about the future. This one's tough, lots of syllables.
You're right, it's complex. Emphasize, challenges, optimistic, and future, and blend, remained optimistic. Despite the challenges, they remained optimistic about the future.
Alright, trying that rhythm. Despite the challenges, they remained optimistic about the future. Feeling more confident now.
Excellent. You're getting the hang of it. So, focusing on rhythm is the first key to unlocking your natural accent.
So Belle, what about when shadowing native speakers who have really strong regional accents? Should we try to mimic those too?
That's a great question, Theus. While shadowing, it's generally best to start with a standard, clear accent like General American or received pronunciation.
Okay, that makes sense. So avoid Cockney rhyming slang right away?
Exactly. Strong regional accents can introduce a lot of very specific phonetic nuances and slang that might not be broadly understood. You might end up sounding odd.
So, stick to the mainstream and build a solid foundation first. Got it, but what if I really admire a particular accent?
If you admire it, later on you can certainly experiment. However, focus on mastering a more neutral accent first. Then, you can gradually incorporate elements you like.
Okay, so it's like learning the basic chords on a guitar before trying to play a complex blues riff.
Precisely. Think of it as building a strong foundation before adding stylistic flourishes. Trying to mimic everything at once will just overwhelm you.
So, let's say I'm shadowing someone with a distinct New York accent. Should I try to drop my R's like they do?
Not necessarily in the beginning. Focus on matching their rhythm, intonation, and the overall flow of their speech. The accent will start to come naturally over time.
So, the R dropping will eventually just happen?
It might. Or you might choose to keep some of your R's, while still capturing the essence of the New York accent. It's about finding what works for your voice.
That's a good point. So it's not about becoming a perfect copy, but about improving my overall pronunciation and fluency.
Exactly. Think of shadowing as a tool for expanding your phonetic toolbox, not for completely transforming your identity. It's more about adaptation.
What about when the native speaker uses a lot of slang or idioms I don't understand? Should I still try to shadow those?
Absolutely, but with a caveat. First, write down the unfamiliar slang or idiom. Then, look it up and understand its meaning and usage.
So, don't just blindly repeat it. Understand it first.
Exactly. Shadowing isn't just about mimicking sounds. It's about understanding the language in context. You need to know what you are saying.
Okay, so if they say something like, "That's a piece of cake," I shouldn't just repeat it without knowing it means. Easy.
Precisely. Understanding the meaning will also help you deliver the phrase with the correct intonation and emphasis. It adds another layer.
So, shadowing is like a combination of acting and language learning. I'm mimicking, but also understanding.
That's a great analogy. You're essentially stepping into the shoes of the native speaker and experiencing the language from their perspective.
This is really helpful, Belle. So, to summarize, start with a clear accent, understand the slang, and focus on rhythm and intonation.
You got it. And remember, be patient with yourself. It takes time and practice to see results. Shadowing is a long-term investment.
And what if I'm shadowing a character in a movie or TV show? Does that change the approach at all?
Not significantly, but be mindful of the character's personality and context. Their speech patterns might be exaggerated for dramatic effect.
So, don't necessarily take everything they say as gospel.
Exactly. Use your judgment and focus on the aspects of their speech that sound natural and authentic. Some characters might use strange language.
That makes sense. So, avoid the over-the-top villain's laugh, perhaps.
Unless, of course, you're practicing for a stage role. But for everyday conversation, stick to the more realistic elements of their speech.
And what if I'm shadowing someone who speaks really fast? Should I try to keep up with their pace?
Not initially. Slow down the recording if needed, or choose a speaker who speaks at a more manageable pace for you. Focus on accuracy first, then speed.
So, crawl before you run.
Absolutely. Speed will come naturally as you become more comfortable with the sounds and rhythms of the language. Don't rush the process.
So, it's better to shadow accurately at a slower pace than to butcher it while trying to keep up.
Precisely. Accuracy is key to developing a good ear and solid pronunciation habits. Speed will follow with consistent practice.
This is all incredibly useful, Belle. I feel much more confident about tackling shadowing now.
Great. Remember to choose material that interests you, be patient with yourself, and have fun with the process. Shadowing should be enjoyable.
Excellent advice. Thanks, Belle.
You're welcome, Theus. Happy shadowing. Shadowing is especially effective when you're learning the nuances of connected speech, like how words slur together or drop sounds in fast conversation.
That's a great point. So, if I'm shadowing a news report, I might hear going to pronounced as gonna. Is that something I should try to imitate?
Absolutely. Shadowing isn't just about mimicking the individual sounds but also capturing those natural reductions and linking sounds that make speech flow.
And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English. We have tons of other lessons to help you improve your pronunciation.
Exactly. For example, if you're shadowing a British speaker, you might notice a tendency to drop the R at the end of words, as in car, becoming ca.
So, I wouldn't pronounce the R sound, even if I normally would in my own accent? That feels a little strange, like I'm pretending to be someone else.
That's where the shadowing aspect comes in. You're temporarily adopting their speech patterns to train your ear and mouth to produce those sounds naturally.
Okay, I see. It's not about permanently changing my accent, but about expanding my ability to understand and reproduce different pronunciations.
Precisely. And that improved awareness can then subtly influence your own speaking, making it sound more natural and fluent in various contexts.
Can shadowing help with understanding different dialects or regional accents within the same country? Like, could I shadow a speaker from Texas?
Definitely. Shadowing is a powerful tool for familiarizing yourself with the subtle variations in pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation that characterize different dialects.
So, if I shadow someone from Texas, I might pick up on their drawl and the way they pronounce certain vowel sounds differently.
Exactly. You'll start to notice the specific features that distinguish their accent, like the way they might pronounce pen and pin the same way.
That's fascinating. It's like becoming a language chameleon, able to blend in and understand different speech patterns more easily.
And remember, consistency is key. Don't just shadow once or twice and expect miraculous results. Make it a regular part of your language learning routine.
What are some good resources for finding shadowing material? Should I just stick to news reports or are there other options?
News reports are a great starting point, but you can also use podcasts, interviews, documentaries, or even your favorite TV shows and movies.
So, I could shadow an episode of Friends or The Office. That sounds a lot more entertaining than reading the news.
Absolutely. Just make sure you choose material that is both interesting to you and relatively clear in its pronunciation. Avoid anything with excessive background noise.
Are there any potential pitfalls to watch out for when shadowing? Things that might hinder my progress or even make my pronunciation worse?
One common mistake is focusing too much on individual words and not enough on the overall rhythm and intonation of the speaker.
So, I shouldn't just try to copy each sound perfectly in isolation, but rather try to capture the flow and melody of their speech.
Exactly. Pay attention to the way they stress certain syllables, the pauses they take, and the overall musicality of their language.
Another potential pitfall is choosing material that is too difficult for your current level. That can lead to frustration and discouragement.
Start with something relatively simple and then gradually increase the complexity as your skills improve. And don't be afraid to slow down the audio if necessary.
So, I can adjust the playback speed on YouTube or a podcast app to make it easier to follow along.
Absolutely. Many apps have features that allow you to slow down the audio without significantly distorting the sound quality. Use them to your advantage. Let's practice. I'm going to say a sentence with a specific intonation pattern, and you'll repeat it, trying to match my rhythm and stress. Ready?
Absolutely. I'm all ears, ready to put my shadowing skills to the test and see if I can nail that intonation. Bring it on, Belle.
Okay, here's the sentence. She's going to the store to buy milk and bread. Notice how the intonation rises slightly on milk, and then falls on bread.
Okay, I'll try. She's going to the store to buy milk and bread? Did I get the rising and falling right, or did I sound a bit too robotic?
Almost. The rise on milk should be a little more pronounced, and the fall on bread needs to be a bit more definitive. Think of it as a gentle wave.
Okay, let me try again, focusing on that wave-like intonation. She's going to the store to buy milk and bread. How's that sound now?
Perfect. You nailed the intonation perfectly. The rhythm is also much smoother. Much better than the first time around. Excellent.
Awesome. I'm starting to get a feel for this shadowing thing. It's like mimicking music, but with spoken words instead. What's next?
Great. Now let's try a question. Are you going to the party tonight, or are you staying home? Notice the rising intonation at the end of each option.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Are you going to the party tonight, or are you staying home? Did I make it sound like a genuine question?
Yes, the question intonation is good, but focus more on stressing the key words, party and home. It adds a bit more emphasis and clarity.
All right, let's try that again, emphasizing party and home. Are you going to the party tonight, or are you staying home? Better?
Much better. The emphasis on those words makes the question more engaging and easier to understand. You're really getting the hang of this.
Great. So, stressing the key words and matching the rise and fall of your intonation. That's the secret to shadowing success, right?
Exactly. Now, let's try a slightly more complex sentence with a bit of emotion. I can't believe how beautiful the sunset is tonight.
Okay, I'll try to capture that sense of awe and wonder. I can't believe how beautiful the sunset is tonight. How did I do with the emotion?
The emotion is there, but let's work on pacing. Try to slow down slightly on beautiful to let that word really resonate. Give it some space.
Okay, I'll try to stretch out that beautiful and let it linger. I can't believe how beautiful the sunset is tonight. Better emphasis?
Perfect. The pacing is spot on, and you can really feel the wonder in your voice. You're shadowing like a pro now, Theus.
Fantastic. I'm feeling much more confident in my ability to mimic and internalize these natural English rhythms and intonation patterns.
Excellent. Now, it's your turn to try a sentence I make up on the spot. This will really test your skills. Ready for the challenge?
Bring it on. I'm ready to tackle anything you throw my way. Let's see what kind of linguistic curveball you've got for me.
Okay, here it is. Even though it was raining, they decided to go for a walk in the park anyway. Focus on the contrast and the slight defiance.
All right, I'll try to capture that sense of contrast and determination. Even though it was raining, they decided to go for a walk in the park anyway.
Pretty good, but let's add a tiny pause before, anyway, to emphasize the unexpected decision. And a bit more stress on raining.
Let me try that with the pause and extra emphasis on raining. Even though it was raining, They decided to go for a walk in the park, anyway.
Much better. The pause adds a nice dramatic effect, and emphasizing, raining, really drives home the contrast. You've mastered this technique.
Amazing. I can really feel the difference shadowing makes. My pronunciation feels more natural, and I'm more aware of my intonation patterns.
Great job, Theus. Remember to keep practicing, and you'll notice a huge improvement in your overall English fluency and accent.
I definitely will. And for all our listeners, try shadowing along with your favorite English speakers, whether it's podcasts, movies, or TV shows.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more natural and effortless your English will become. It's all about consistent effort and mindful imitation.
So, find some audio you enjoy, put on your shadowing shoes, and start mimicking. You'll be amazed at how quickly you improve. So, remember, shadowing is all about mimicking native speakers to improve your rhythm and intonation.
A great tip is to start with short clips and gradually increase the length as you get more comfortable.
Don't be afraid to sound silly. The goal is to internalize the sounds and patterns of English.
Remember to subscribe to Uncle Sam Fun English for more lessons like this to boost your fluency.
Thanks for listening and keep practicing that shadowing.
See you next time. Bye everyone.